Well, sir, am I audible to you?
Yeah, I am able to hear you.
I hope all participants are joined. Well, sir, so today we are going to start. Sorry for the delay today. Today we have speakers. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, Professor. Yes, you are.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, Professor.
Now session is going to start.
So I would like to welcome A.T. Kishore sir for the today first session. For the today first session, as a keynote speaker, I welcome all the keynote speakers, including A.T. Kishore sir, Dr. Dinda Pramanta from Kyushu Institute of Information Technology from Japan, Dr. Hansil Peter Joseph from Singapore, and Dr. Swapnil Saurabh from ServiceNow Hyderabad. Along with us, we have convener of IIHR, Dr. Binay Kumar, and all participants. I welcome you to this great conclave, IIHR. So let me introduce A.T. Kishore sir. A.T. Kishore sir has a wide experience. He has more than 25 years of experience. Sorry, it is 30 plus experience, 30 years plus experience. He holds master degree in applied electronics from Osmania University and has groomed defense lab of DRDO. He has started his career as commissioned officer of Indian Air Force specialized in aeronautical engineering, radar and communication system. After retiring from the service, he has assumed various technical and leadership roles with the increasing responsibilities in the wireless communication industry. He has been a part of reputed companies like Bell Labs, Innovations, now Nokia, and made significant contributions in the R&D, product development, and technical competency development. He contributed significantly to the deployment of CDMA technology, GPON, and nationwide fiber optics networks, BharatNet in India. He has been author of many technical papers, delivered technical talks in global forums on various communication topics like LTE, 5G, IoT, session initiation protocol, SIP security, and IP media services, IMS, to name a few. He has been mentoring several universities on 5G and IoT technologies. He is contributing member of UAV standardization committee of Bureau of Indian Standard and a part of drafting committee on 5G use cases for aerospace and aviation industry. Flight Lieutenant Kishore is currently the founder and CEO of Bajja Sangha Technologies Private Limited, a startup company. Third, the unmanned aerial vehicle is a flagship product of his company, apart from the providing technical training and engineering consultation services. He has been part of one or two places with me in some other conferences. So I welcome you, sir, for the today conclave, and conclave is handing over to you. Please, sir.
Thank you very much, and I recognize presence of the leadership team of IIHR, though I'm not front of you. I could sense that. And I also spent Sunday morning looking at yesterday's speeches centered around various topics, including 3G, 4G, then startups, and metaverse, and AI. And it would be my pleasure to continue the discussion. And the topic that has been chosen and assigned to me is to focus on how can this 5G and other related technologies, such as blockchain IoT, can impact positively in the growth and sustainable development of public sector organizations, PSUs. In fact, there was a discussion on what's happening to the startups, and some of the speakers, learned scholars, felt it's a big challenge to run a startup. I empathize that many startups face challenges. And in fact, we are coming up with a package to help the startups with license tools which are worth 67 lakhs if they write a letter to us, and then genuinity of their purpose. And we work with the manufacturers of the software tools to provide you license keys which are production quality to get you going in your production work. This we have been doing it apart from we ourselves being a startup company. And I am qualified to fly the drones of 100 kilos and below. In fact, 150 kilos, but defense has a different classification that below 100 is called as lightweight. And we can, after this talk, I can pick up questions relating to anything relating to how UAVs and wireless are related, things like that. And I see a lot of broad perspective in the organization, like G20, 75th anniversary, like Vision 47. So I thought of highlighting those in my first slide. So actually, the sustainability and future technology for the growth of PSU, that word is hidden behind Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, and emerging technologies with a first focus on 5G and blockchain. And that is what is missing. So I didn't want to disturb the slide, which is already in the presentation mode. Let me move on. Basically, I would like to highlight most of the PSUs are governed by ministries. For example, there is a Ministry of Defense. There are 9 PSUs which work underneath the umbrella of the Ministry of Defense. And DRDO, for example, is not a PSU, though it's a research arm of the defense services. Similarly, ISRO is not a PSU. So just to get you a kind of a feel of what are the PSUs. And so, for example, for space, for research, recently India carved out a new Space India Limited. And we already have seen the T-shirt boys, the startup people, to connect with yesterday's discussion in this same technology development conclave. Agnicool and Agnicool Cosmos and Skyroot are excellent illustrations of the success story of the startups. So for the student community, this is the very good case study or use case that even in the space, you can venture as a startup. And what are these PSUs? So BEL, Bharat Electronics, India Telephone Industry, the #1 PSU of India, Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, Oil and Natural Gas Commission, Indian Oil, Oil India, comes under Ministry of Petroleum Natural Gas. And the whole world is looking at a new need to overcome the challenges of the fossil fuels. And there is going to be an energy summit in Abu Dhabi in 2nd to 5th of October, where India is going to lead in shaping the COP28 discussions. As you know, that one COP happened in England to a COP26, and COP27 happened in African continent. And every year, this COP is an organization to discuss about the global warming concerns. So all the PSUs, they do spend a lot of energy, either thermal energy or made from coal, And so all these companies, including the PSUs or even other than them, every company is duty bound to tell how they are transitioning from dependency on the fossil fuels to renewable or a new energy like a green hydrogen, etc. So that's one of the things that if a 5G or other technologies can help, and how can we leverage these technologies to go forward for the energy efficiencies, etc., will be one of the main themes of my talk. And what are the other PSUs? For example, for Indian Railways, Dedicated Freight Corridor Corporation of India. Even India Railways Catering and Tourism Corporation is also a PSU, for your kind information. And a little bit of a history, like started in 51, and we had 365 government entities, and they have a kind of investment of lakhs of crores. Nowadays, there is a 5 trillion ambition, and I met the delegation team from Uttar Pradesh led by Air Chief Marshal R.K.S. Baturia. One state alone is aiming for $1 trillion. And so there are 5 states which came forward with a blueprint to come up with a 5 trillion for India's aspirational story. Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Maharashtra. These are some of the examples to give you. And so the total paid up capital of these PSUs as of 2019 was 2.76 lakh crores. This central government owned PSCs have earned revenue of 24.43 lakh crores, or 1 lakh crore during the financial year 2018-19. Now, BSNL, for example, 40,000 crores, it is kind of associated with, but there are challenges that it is facing and trying to get privatized. And so many PSUs also, like startups, are under some challenges. These are called Navaratnas, Bharat Electronics and Container Corporation, Engineers India, HL, MTNL. BSNL is not listed, make a note of it, and National Aluminium Company, National Building Consortium. But I don't see any focused public sector aimed at technologies around healthcare or edutech, which is emerging. And whereas many other countries are transforming their education from a blackboard to AR, VR, and metaverse experience based, and robots are teaching, with the exception of a few schools in India and a few restaurants, about which there is a mention made by the learned scholars yesterday, that some robots are serving food. Yes, in Bangalore, you get food in a couple of restaurants by robots. And I think robotics automation is on the verge of unleashing the limitations with the Industry 4.0 is discussed by many speakers yesterday. So go forward, I would like to say that increasing importance will be given to the new renewable energy ministry of Government of India, wherein all the existing PSUs and private and every company, they need to change their energy from conventional to the new, and that's how we will be able to declare to the world net zero economy system, which we intend to showcase by 2070 and trying to achieve it by 2050. These are some of the PSUs that are highlighted. I would like to draw your attention to the IT forum supporting PSU, and most of the members are not PSUs. They are either MNCs or private companies or some other organizations. So the PSUs cannot function on their own. Every company depends on others for supply chain, logistics, and ecosystem is built around MSME. So if you launch a new PSU, it encourages more and more startups to come also. That is something government will be doing time to time. And as the energy is the focus, government has a new energy related ministry, and a lot of solar and renewable wind and other energy initiatives are going on. And we have like a lot of focus on using AR, VR experiences. And India is going to play a vital role in the aviation industry as well, with most of the purchases for defense as well as civilian committed from India. And that is an encouragement for the global aviation industry, both Airbus and Boeing and others, in the defense supplies as well. So India is playing key role, being the fifth economic power, emerging out to be like a potentially the third superpower by about a decade or even less than that time frame. So in fact, I've been asked to focus on 5G and how it impacts the PSU's growth. So if you look at the 5G design of this logo, you find a number of UAVs there, both rotor crafts as well as maybe fixed eVTOLs. And you find gadgets like a metaverse kind of things, players like Jio, BSNL, Airtel, Vodafone. These are Indian telcos. And supplier ecosystem like Nokia, STL, and Ciena are highlighted in this design. So what it means is that on the left-hand side, you have the telecom operators, and on the right-hand side, you see the equipment manufacturers. That is how they coexist, and we call that as 5G. And to take this discussion further, India is leading in the Vande Mataram Super Express trains, and there is expected that you will, even in that high-speed train, you get good internet access, and that is because of the 5G, 6G kind of technologies, where using satellites, you have a non-terrestrial communication which you can sync up to these trains and provide you inside the train, even if it is at a very high speeds. So that's what is on the anvil. And 5G can touch all these smart cities, and it can play a vital role in transforming the IT ecosystem also in terms of energy efficiencies, like using the power of sensors, AI, ML. You will be able to optimize the use of energy and thereby participate in the journey towards less energy consumption and more creative use of existing and optimal use of the existing resources. So as already India played a vital role by contributing to 100 smart cities out of the total 500. So we envision that apart from the already finished project, the smart city project is technically winded up, but the government will come up with more such as smart towns or smart villages, because rural economy is most vital to unleash the agricultural sector, where drones, they can play a role of precision farming. And we have BharatNet for the digital India to take the digital technologies to the rural households even. So with the combination of all these things, we can see transformation. And since PSUs are part of our ecosystem, they would definitely be playing a vital role in shaping these things. So just to define what are these technologies, during 1980s, first generation wireless before GSM was something like a advanced mobile phone system. So every individual had a phone of a certain frequency, and 24 hours you don't use the phone, but that frequency is dedicated to you. And that was a gross over utilization per head. And therefore, by 1990s, America has used CDMA and Europe has used GSM to come up with multiple users sharing a particular frequency, like similar to time division multiple access and code division multiple access happened during the 1990s. And India was not lagging behind. In 1998, the so-called 3G of GSM flavor did not come up, but the 3G of EVDO and CDMA version took off at the 1998. So in India, Reliance Communications has launched that with more than 2 Mbps. And that was a great journey from 1998 up to 2012. The regime of CDMA in India, and then later on taken over by LTE technologies. So that's what we call 4G. and it provides 100 Mbps data rate. For the student community, I can give a formula how you get that 100 Mbps. You multiply 14,000 multiplied by 1200 multiplied by 6, you will get 100 Mbps. The 14,000 is the number of symbols per second. 1200 is the number of subcarriers. Each subcarrier is 15 kilohertz within 20 megahertz spectrum, keeping the 1 megahertz on both sides as God band. 18 megahertz divided by 15 kilohertz gives rise to 1200. And multiplication factor by 6 is the 2 to the power of 6 is 64. 64 quadrature amplitude modulation. So LTE technology is making use of orthogonal frequency division multiplexing. So we have 14,000 symbols per second, and every millisecond has 14 symbols. Therefore, there are 1,000 milliseconds. Therefore, that is how the chipsets of Qualcomm are designed for LTE as per the standard. So I repeat my formula. 14,000 multiplied by 1200 multiplied by 6 gives rise to 1,000 Mbps. That is in one sector and in one carrier, maximum data rate which is shareable amongst users is 100 Mbps. And that's purely IP. Your mobile has got an IP address. And that also leads to challenges of security, like if somebody hacks your phone, they can misuse or take all your data. So cybersecurity concerns are there. So mobile technologies led by 3GPP made a lot of mobile implementation of double authentication and made it very secure in their implementations. So what 5G and why we should go for 5G is from 2019, that is before the pandemic struck, this technology is available, and it has come soon after the pandemic is about to wind up. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has inaugurated in the India Mobile Congress, and he has illustrated by examples what 5G can do, how for a construction worker in a mine, or for school children to connect with people across the globe in a three-dimensional way, like, with telepresence. Those use cases were demonstrated during the launch time by our Honorable Prime Minister. So what 5G gives is a very high data rates and low latency and supporting maximum number of devices. That is the triangle of benefits that the 5G brings. I repeat, maximum number of devices in a density of area of 1 square mile. Say you get millions of devices as compared to maybe 1 lakh devices in the previous LTE. So it's like more number of devices and less delay and more data rate. All the three advantages are there in the 5G technology. And that can be utilized for PSUs or MNCs or startups or government, everyone. So this is what I already mentioned. And lucky for India, not only 5G days onwards, India is not going to listen to the world and implement whatever they design. India is actively participating in shaping the standard. So 5G and 6G is also India's forte now, strong strengths. DSI is one organization which is similar to IEEE or 3GPP or ITU, which is India's standards development organization, headed by Director General Pamela Kumar Madam, and also there is a frugal 5G initiative from Sri Abhay Karandikar, who was the director for one of the IITs, and he is the director for this. And the Bureau of Indian Standard also is looking at taking the results from all these initiatives and incorporating even drones, how 5G can be blended with the drones for the shaping the UAV ecosystem. And RIL, Airtel already launched 5G and Vodafone too, maybe in some parts, but 4G is a very predominantly available wireless standard in India, that is LTE. For RIL, the supplier is Samsung, and others like Ericsson, that's also a very strong player. Nokia is also a very good manufacturer of these equipments. And 5G can be enabler of Internet of Things and Internet of Everything. And Digital India, as I mentioned, BharatNet giving 100 Mbps data rate on GPON at village level on optical networking terminals. And Industry 5.0, about which many speakers spoke yesterday. So Industry 6.0, 7.0 is also envisioned, taking that advantages of 3D printing, additive manufacturing, and the advantage of the wireless technologies like 6G and as time progresses 7G, and robotics and artificial intelligence, metaverse, blending all that, they have come up with Industry 6.0, 7.0, wherein you have more automation and more of a machine dominated world. And so robots doing everything for us. And there is a vision for 2047, I mean, wherein India would be the world leader. And UAV and 5G are also, they can contribute for intelligent manufacturing. Say the PSUs need to make some things. So when you produce a device, inside a room, you will have a small UAV moving across the four corners of the room, capturing some nuances of manufacturing, or if there are some red flags or some things to be quickly brought to the attention of certain people, from the shop floor to control, it can do just like CCTV, and it's more intelligent than a CCTV. CCTVs are fixed at one place and they got a limited movement in a particular circular angle, but they cannot really see behind what's happening to them. So that there could be certain errors in a CCTV monitoring, but a UAV, since it is mobile and then looking down, it can see 360-degree without any problem and get you multiple images, and then you can do collation of all the data and get to the facts. And supply chain logistics, everyone is eagerly waiting for Directorate General of Civil Aviation to open up the beyond visual line of sight for logistics supply chain, like how it is done in US for supplying materials using Amazon, for example. When you order something in Flipkart or any Swiggy or Zomato, it could be delivered through a UAV. That is potentially possible. However, a lot of thinking is going on in Bureau of Indian Standard, how to shape the world where there are no accidents. On the road today, we see plenty of accidents. We don't want to see the same thing happening in the sky and the debris falling on innocent people on the ground. We don't want to see that happening. So collision avoidance and then prevention of any runaway drones or rogue drones is the focus area before we start those services. Even though during the pandemic days, because there was not much people around in the open sky underneath, because they were asked to stay at home, people could use the UAV to deliver the essential masks and the medicine and other things. So for medical emergency, UAV use case of making use was approved by the joint director of MOCA, Ministry of Civil Aviation, Sri Ambar Dubey, and then Garud is the name given to the project. That is a government authorization of use of UAV for certain purposes for limited duration. They have given that, and it was successfully conducted. Similarly, they used the UAV for driving away the locust, which were like destroying our farms, our agriculture fields. So they were able to use some chemicals on the, when the locust is sleeping on some tree top, they were using these drones to spray that just like a pesticide, so that locusts were killed. That was one of the limited time government authorized the use of UAV for spraying purposes. And BIS has very proudly come up with agricultural standard, which has become part of the government gadget, and then it's a Manak database. So anybody interested in the business of agricultural based UAVs, get in touch with the Bureau of Indian Standard to get a copy of the standard. You can get it for free. And the core of what 5G can offer to PSU in terms of sustainability and growth and economic value is in energy efficiency and spectrum efficiency in both frequency range and regime of 1 and 2. FR1 is typically below 6 gigahertz, and India has earmarked 300 megahertz like 3300 megahertz up to 3600. 300 megahertz are given to Indian telcos, and FR2 is like 24.25 gigahertz up to 28.6 gigahertz. That is also used, and there for some niche applications like millimeter waves and beam forming, etc. And this technology together provides for growth into 6G, which is predominantly NT, that is non-terrestrial, means not just to worry about what is happening on the road or on the surface of Earth, but even in the sky. So that is where we think about use of this technology for UAV also in the beyond visual range communication. And I have seen speakers talking about United Nations Sustainable Developmental Goals, and the technologies such as 5G, IoT, blockchain certainly help in implementing effectively the poverty alleviation and universal education, access to water and food and opportunities across the globe for everyone. That is in fact the theme of G20 also. In my first slide, I kept a link. End of the during question answers, I'll play that also. That summarizes all the technologies that we have as India has aspiration to be the leader of the, I mean, it's already made the leader of the 20 nations and truly be the leader in terms of giving technologies and support to them. So what 5G can do is solve the global warming concerns and help in sustainability and e-mobility, electrical vehicles. So a lot of importance is given to, for example, New Delhi government insists that the Olas and Ubers, 10% of their fleet should be electrical. That way all the states also can do it. And eventually the regular users also can, instead of everybody using a vehicle, they pair up, and that's how, or work from home. These are the ways to minimize the carbon footprint. Social, economic, and environmental benefits also spoken by the speakers yesterday. And 5G will not run away from these objectives. It is on the spot, providing the same support. 3D printing or additive manufacturing also is relating to 5G, because any communication required between two devices, with the 5G, it will be more faster and less latency. It helps in industrialization and automation and a more accurate work done. And without errors or with the delays, there could be errors in the LTE or other 4G. But 5G being nearly 1 millisecond latency, it would be much more effective than compared to the 4G. Flexibility and design thinking and empathy. So for example, there is a need for in fact, as I mentioned initial remark, that there's a need to have a PSU focused on healthcare technologies. And so telemedicine, empathizing that patient to doctor ratio for sometimes 1,000 patients in some location or 10,000 patients, one doctor is available. So how to fill the gap is use this IoT and other sensors, AI/ML, and then metaverse to fill the gaps and try to provide solutions. In that journey, 5G and definitely plays a vital role. So G20, we are the leaders. We are the chair for the G20 organization. And in COP28, we are going to shape the standards. That way we have a soft power. Bharat has a very good reputation in the world. And example is Vande Mataram Express trains, where if you keep a glass of water, it doesn't even shake. So without vibration, it goes very high speed and provides internet inside. And there's a global leadership of digital economy that India has demonstrated during the pandemic days, that offices continue to work from home and services of government and all, including schools and like banking, everything happened through mobile devices. And that is where softwareization is India's strength. By 2030, India wants to be #1 in the drones ecosystem as well, beating China, its rival in DJI, etc. And for both cars as well as drones, there are levels of automation, whether human is controlling it or automatically they are driven. So there is a level 0 where completely human is there, level 5 completely machine is there. In between, there are degrees of increasing dependency on the machine, as there were discussions on how mankind can depend on computers because they have beaten like Deep Blue program is discussed. And so there's also Google has come up with the Go and other games, and a lot of AI is improved. And Alan Turing test of now almost the Alexas and others, they are still growing. And Chat GPT is also discussed by some speakers. So there's a lot of growth of the AI, and it is going to become explainable AI and AI which is ethically based. There were discussions about bias of AI, and that's true. Therefore, more work is done to eliminate the developer's bias on the code that gets into AI. At the end of the day, AI is also program written by humans, and if the human has a bias, it would have color bias or a racial bias or gender bias. All those things can be neutralized by using better algorithms, and that is also kind of a training the system. And so smart cities, as already I mentioned once, smart technologies, and actually the word smart itself is used in management like specific, measurable, time bound results, and then that's how smart word has been coined. So and result oriented, accountable. And so mission critical and defense applications, 5G can play a vital role. And India has taken a very good focus on aviation, army and navy, defense procurements, and India is the largest, almost the largest procurer of the equipage from the world, almost the third largest military presence in the world. And that way, that 5G also will play a great role in that, in terms of smart software-defined radios and software-defined networks and network function virtualization. So this is a typical technical stack of the modern ecosystems that we are looking at. Any technology that you develop should be manageable, scalable, secure. It should provide privacy, and it should be interoperable between two different manufacturers, and it should be able to heal itself, self-healing. In achieving so, we have these verticals, those are the verticals. At a horizontal level, these are the application layer, below which there is a data management layer, and a network control plane, and a device and edge plane. This is how the 7-layer OSI has been reorchestrated to define an abstraction view of the technical stack. And so the 5G, what all things it can do is, I will highlight 4 major areas: smart manufacturing, smart university campus, or a smart workplace, or a smart grid of electricity, and smart traffic on the road. And getting into each aspect, for example, smart manufacturing, you have a remote and precise control of any device or a car. Like Prime Minister was sitting in India and operating one vehicle somewhere in Europe, and while moving his handle here, it was actually moving there. So that's the precise control, just like how you fly a drone. And so collect terminal video to the cloud. So when data is gathered, you put it in the cloud and collect the sensor data in the factory. All this can be done with the help of 5G effectively. Similarly, in a university campus, you do distance learning because 5G provides low latency, more number of students can get connected from different locations, and data, that is the professor is giving data about a manufacturing information system, and he is opening up a big file which is like a SolidWorks or a Unity 3D or CATIA, which requires like gigabits of megabits of terabits of data. And it is possible because 5G provides Higher data rate, more number of devices, and less delay. That way, it is very ideal for distance learning. Early childhood education and companionship. So if a child is in one part of the world, another child connected through this 5G, virtual reality, augmented reality, the child doesn't feel a lack of other children around, and you can get that gap filled up. That's what is called companionship, which the 5G technology can fill the gap. And when you come to the smart traffic aspect on the top right corner, analyze the pedestrian flow and precise positioning services, and then face recognition, and monitor the traffic condition by the sensors, and then autonomous driving. So why we need to monitor? Because currently most of our time in the red, orange or green, they are all fixed in terms of number of seconds, irrespective of the column of traffic that is waiting, with the exception of a few places where human presence, they take decisions. But if you could automate that based on the logic of how many vehicles are there, the time can be modified. That is where you require the 5G like technology to monitor the traffic conditions by sensors. A mobile device comes with number of sensors, and such as Bluetooth and other motion sensor, etc. Autonomous driving, as it has been in place since decades in Europe and America, and India also tests are going on. But existing roads of India are already overcrowded. For the new developing national highways, by the way, I ask you, anybody can answer 1,35,499. Let me caution, this is not Indian rupee salary of an individual. This is something relating to Indian roads. Let me just answer it. It is the length of the Indian roads in kilometers. 1,35,499 kilometers. That is the volume of work you can do it for autonomous driving. Some portion of that can be conducive for your new technologies. Most of it cannot be automated. That is okay. But then that can be smartly managed with other aspects like monitoring and recognition and other services. Now come to smart grid. We have an emergency response. There is some burning going on. Immediately you need to stop a particular flow of energy and collect the inspection video. If there is an accident on the road, you can collect the data, and the smart grid can help in switching on the lights around a spot where initially the lights were minimal, and when there is a requirement, it can increase the number of lights to avoid wastage of lights. I move forward. This is another busy slide about application of the various technologies, including smart buildings, electrical vehicles, fuel cells, these are all the various options you have for energy, biofuels, thermal fluids. Then electrical technology gets even buildings need electrical energy, and so solar can supply that. Bio waste can be used, and biomethane gas, and interactive markets, like we have a producers, consumers, there is some warehouse or a storage, and so these are all the various ecosystem players. And the slide doesn't talk about wireless, but the magic of wireless is when anything needs to be communicated about any aspect of what you see in this busy slide, you need communication. So effective communication will prevent a major disaster of an accident or something is burning. And I can give an example of a poor lady, in the sense not economically, old lady in America, one of the New Jersey restaurants where I was standing outside with a colleague of mine, because that was a holiday for us, because the ice was coming up to knee depth, so we cannot go to office to work from home. We were just talking, and so the people came just like astronauts in ambulance and fire extinguisher devices. They entered a room by a smart card, and they rescued a old lady because she kept some bread or something in a instant heater, and that has resulted in a small fire. Without even the reception people knowing about it, the room has alerted the fire system and they have come into action. So that's the kind of smartness we could see. So communication is very important. So their hotels were equipped with that kind of communication systems, so that they alerted the police and fire and medical support, and it arrived before anything disaster happened. Now I would like to say that what is the one layer of, apart from generic discussion, when we look at companies like, there are hundreds of software companies in India, what are the opportunities for them for 5G? When you look at that, these are all the some of these layers of abstraction which they can utilize for their work. When anything is software defined, we can actually conclude in a logical way that that can be blockchained also. Not necessarily that you have to, but anything that is governed by software can be orchestrated so that you can create a database which is similar to the blockchain philosophy, so that you inherit the benefits of transparency, trust, and security, and non-repudiation and immutability. So these are the merits of blockchain-based economy, and that can apply to every ecosystem, not just one domain or other. In everywhere there is a data, the data can be blockchain. The data belonging to academic institutions or corporates or government or any other public distribution systems, hospitals, data can be blockchain. And any violation of the protocol can be monitored, because the blockchain will not allow you to tamper with the data. So thereby we can achieve better transparency in implementation and a more clean governance. So that application and services plane, we have tactile dashboard providing key performance indicators, and there is an open API manager and video augmentation enabler, as it has discussed, like augmented reality, immersive experience, or hybrid reality, mixed reality. That is all what where we have a data storage enabler in the cloud, and we have the semantic translation enabler, annotator enabler, and repository enabler. Semantic means when you speak a language, English or other language translation, transliteration, or you use any device like Alexa, how does your human voice get interpreted by the machine? When it responds, can that response be also be used as a source of input to some other system? Say you speak to a drone, you then, instead of controlling the drone with your throttle up, or you ask it to go up and then move right, left, take a turn. These commands can be with your voice as well, and that can be interpreted as the micro instructions given to it by the ground control station. So that's where the semantic systems play a role in AI. A smart network and control plane has a software-defined network controller and virtual tunneling thing, and software-defined wide area network, virtual private networks, wide area networks come into play in this realm. We have a IoT localization tags, like, we have RFID devices. Your car is going through a highway, you need to charge for the toll access. Now you have an express toll access, and that is how these things are all helpful. IoT falling arresting device. Old age people have a problem of falling down, and IoT device can support you in avoiding the fall by elderly people with the use of some augmented devices which are attached to the body of the old people, and something like a cycle stand. They won't be allowed to fall. It will support you, like, assisted when you are walking, a limping, you take help of a stick like thing, right? So it would gently come and attach to the ground, not let the elderly person to really fall down. That is what is a fall arresting devices, assist IoT edge nodes. So these are all things which are evolving. As I said, there is a need for a PSU to evolve in the aspect of healthcare technology, similarly edutech technology, where currently we don't have in India. So this is about continuing that and how your blockchain can play a role in distributed ledger technology and distributed broker, and also cyber security is enabled. And so that's how the relevance of blockchain and 5G and IoT are in one place. And that is the thought process. And there is an orchestrated and enabler. So this is typically when you get into a particular problem you are solving, you come into aspect of various use cases and all these labels that are there in terms of, for example, GPS may not be relevant. For Indian context, you need to have Indian constellation for navigation. That is what is called location tracking. Location does not necessarily mean GPS. In fact, GPS is not owned by India. All the 24 satellites of Navstar are owned by Military Network of America. Their priority is their own network. Second priority is NATO, and we are third world country. So that's the reason why in the Kargil war, GPS data which we requested America, they did not provide. India thereafter immediately launched 7 satellites. That is a constellation known as NAVIC. And so when you develop new solutions, think of, instead of using GPS, you think of using NAVIC. I hold a patent on the location-based services, which has gone for approval. And I am also co-author for a book on precision farming with Dr. Gayatri Fade of Nashik, one incubation center there. Okay, I would like to move to next. So the underlying realm of how the software is being managed nowadays, including the 5G development. 5G challenges are that the standards have come, but to implement, you need to write a code and it has to be secure. So there is a DevOps was there in the process. And to add the additional layer of security is called DevSecOps. And so this includes something like Infinity Array, similar to design thinking concept. So you have a continuous delivery and continuous integration philosophy. You got a plan, like I heard a previous speaker talking about a plan, do, check, act. Similarly, plan, code, build, test, release, accept, deploy, and operate. And that is how the conventional, unconventional deployment operations were going on. And now we added more realm to it in terms of continuous deployment and a CI/CD pipeline, where we talk about Kubernetes and other microservices to enable these things. And we envision that pharma industry, because during the pandemic, excuse me, so India has excellently demonstrated its responsive behavior of not only safeguarding its people, but many other countries depended on our supply of our vaccine for the pandemic, for the COVID-19. So by 2030, we see that Indian pharma industry might get something like $150 billion kind of business growth. And that means there could be a public sector that emerges to consolidate all these pharma companies like Biopharmas, Bharat Bio, and also other one, Serum Institute, all may become like, parts and parcels of that ecosystem. And so I have a few summary points, potential avenues ahead. This is something like my concluding remarks. PPP model, public-private partnership model driven smart towns and villages like smart cities, by taking contribution from the PSUs and CSR funds, and also take government support, again like the 100 smart cities, where we leverage the use of 5G, IoT, blockchain, and other technologies for smart living environments, and circular economy is also discussed yesterday, and ecosystems. More thrust on electrical vehicles and wind infra for recharging and battery swapping, and innovation in green hydrogen and fuel cells based deployments for urban mobility, and more metro trains are required. And the good news is that it's happening as we speak, and in Bangalore and other cities. And JVs amongst the state and federal governments is required. That is the way forward to handshake the central government and state governments in order to act like a catalyst and then help in spreading from urban development to suburban and rural. And I've got another slide. The end of the day, we are all either students or researchers or educators, or some of us may be industry personnel. We are in an uncertain world and a changing world, and so it's called VUCA world, vulnerable world, and the rapidly everything is transforming itself tremendously, and the only way, yes, go ahead. You have any question? Okay, technology.
Yes, sir, please.
Okay.
Please go ahead, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, technologies, tools, and methods and best practices, they keep evolving, including the 5G will undergo new revisions in the 3GPP release 17, 18, 19, and the new use cases will be added. And one must embrace the new, and continual learning is required at every front. Technologies readiness levels have to be looked at in improvement from startup point of view. Why many startups fail is that their products have not touched the highest levels of technology readiness, like Google or Facebook or Apple they achieved in the first place. Other startups, they don't achieve that levels of perfection. That's where they fail. And they can seek support of MSME and other government agencies, including DRDO, ISRO, Department of Science and Technology, or Ministry of Electronics Information Technology. And you generate an incubation center, Center of Excellence, work closely with Atal Innovation Mission, Niti Aayog, and Smart India Hackathons, and ATLs, and Mentors of Change. And this is a logo which is already there. I don't want to change the size, let it be there. And audio is enough for you, and you can look up it. My first slide also has the link. I conclude with this. Just hold on a second. Yeah.
Home to 1.3 billion people, is a confluence of religions, traditions, and customs. A thriving global center of technology and the world's largest democracy. As one of the oldest civilizations in the world with a rich cultural heritage and diversity, and as the 5th largest economy in the world, India is proud to assume the presidency of G20. As the country blooms into a new era, we look to another poignant symbol for humanity to emerge victorious from challenges. The lotus, the national flower of India, represents our history and culture and symbolizes spirituality, fruitfulness, wealth, and knowledge. And that's the inspiration for India's G20 logo design. The design, rendered in saffron, white, green, and blue, is drawn from the national flag of India. The 7 petals in the logo signify the 7 seas and the coming together of 7 continents at G20 India 2023. Sitting above the lotus is a representation of the earth, reflecting India's pro-planet approach to life and seeing the world as one family. From this, we derive the theme for G20 India 2023, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, one future.
Jai Hind. So I conclude and then I'm ready to take some questions.
Focus on shared global growth while being in harmony with nature. G20 India 2023. One earth, one family, one future.
Yeah, now I am ready to pick up any questions that might have been typed in the YouTube. Kindly pick them up and speak. I am not able to see the YouTube currently.
Yes, sir. Sir, well said and well explained. But we have received some questions, so we cannot take all the questions. Few of them I can say to you. Like starting questions are like, sir, as you started from a startup to come up some factors how startups can be grown up and all. So these one are one of the first questions our
Okay.
participants, spectators has been asked. How? Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, startups need to look at hand holding with other startups, so not work in isolation and go to the forums such as where number of startups meet frequently. I give an example of Hello Club, and other thing is like platforms like this where technology development conclave happen. So be near to center of activities and you get to know the challenges and take help of MSME and all these departments, as I mentioned, like ISRO. I visited ISRO. There were procedural delays, but once you are inside, they give you full time to talk to you and explain what they are doing. And they spent time from 3 p.m. till 8 p.m. When were returning from the ISRO building, they told our actual works begins now. So they were still continuing and we were exhausted. 5 hours we were inside and we were going back. That's how ISRO works. So take inspiration from them, and startups need to do a lot of work together and then compare the results and move forward. And also take benefit of production linked incentives in drone ecosystem, mobile phone implementation and electronics. But alone you cannot get the benefits. You work with a big player and then become a subsidiary to them in particular function, and that's how you can be financially be viable. Yes, sir. Second question.
Yes, sir. Next question is how technology helps grow or innovate PSUs.
Right. Now we focus like yesterday speakers put light on AI, ML, and other metaverse, and today on 5G wireless and blockchain. So all these technologies put together because once the innovation stops, even a big giant of a Navaratna today may collapse if they have not been innovating themselves. For example, IT industry can save electricity by using sensor. If a person is occupying a chair or not, you can switch off the local lights. Similarly, that advantages can be taken to beyond IT company to a big PSU infrastructure and implement the solution there. So 85% of the non-IT world can benefit by benefit of the solutions evolved inside the IT infrastructure. Therefore, the technologies can help the PSU because they cannot work on their own. They depend on other companies in implementing that. You could have seen one slide where there was a discussion forum between PSUs and other companies on how to improve their productivity. So that way, all technologies can help in solving the problems that PSUs might be manufacturing something. where you need supply chain logistics, you need communications, and you need monitoring and mission critical response systems and emergency response systems. Like there was a fire in one of the manufacturing plants. With the 5G, because communication is fast, before even the fire sets in, the thermal sensors can alert you and take precautions and make people to exit the building and switch off some of the supply sources. It can happen because 5G has a much low latency as compared to other conventional communication systems. Yes, sir. Any other question?
Yes, sir. One more question, although many questions, one more question I would like to ask. The participants have asked any difference, similarities between, as you have explained, 5G and prior to that. So 5G and 6G, some similarities, some, if possible, 6G, the difference between 5G, 6G.
Yes, it's a good question. And 5G is more focused on terrestrial, and 6G is focused on non-terrestrial as well, taking the 5G along. So non-terrestrial means that if there is a drone flying at a height of 100 meters, 5G waves may be more looking towards your 6th floor, 7th floor of a building, and sometimes you get a call drop issues currently in the existing towers. But for tomorrow, once these non-terrestrial practices are implemented, the smart antennas will be providing more altitude support, and therefore it will help in controlling the UAVs also. That's one significant difference between 6G and 5G. And another way to look at 6G is from the first generation till the 5th generation, wherever there were issues in terms of serving the humanity, those gaps were aimed at for filling in the 6G. Now that is how the 6G has been defined. Yes, sir.
Well, sir.
Any other questions, sir?
One more participant wants to know some more question. That could be last question, sir, please.
Yeah. Very nice lecture, sir, given it.
Yeah.
Nice lecture, sir, given. So one participant is asking, what is the reason behind USU is not using the too much technology?
Okay. I can answer that. Typically, a PSU might be kind of a non-IT company, and it might be having a very good financial strength, and they don't really need to innovate or implement new technologies. But the problem would be that nothing is permanent. All these materials that we use in a factory, their lifetime will have a limit. Once you can use these technologies, before even a major catastrophe happens, something like Japan faced tsunami and Fukushima, and they had to use robots inside to switch off some things. But if you could sense the tsunami or sense an earthquake before it happens, that is where new technologies need to be investigated further. So no company can remain like, I am like a big giant like Titanic. And in Titanic case, the audacity was the small Morse key operator went with a slip, stating that I got an indication that there is an iceberg there. And the pilot was adamant to change course because he said it's a stubborn, very beast-like thing. That iceberg will be cut off just like that. Just like on the dining table, you use a knife and cut some nimbu. So I thought like that, but it was not the case, because that is what we say, tip of the iceberg. The bottom of the, like a CK Prahlad, the bottom of the pyramid, the bottom may be very wide and you need to address those challenges. It's like a hidden dark energy. So any PSU which closes its eyes on the new emerging technologies such as IoT, 5G, or blockchain, or any of the digital revolutions that we know, that would have repercussions beyond repair, because these manufacturing processes, logistics, supply chain, and implementation of smart factory floor should be there in order to improvise continuously. And that's what even DevSecOps or even software development is also following the continuous improvement and continuous deployments. That way, the big companies also need to be adopting themselves. We cannot remain like a white elephant, or just think that I'm stubborn. But there could be a certain challenges, just like a Silicon Valley bank in 48 hours, it collapsed. Yeah. Yes. Any other questions, sir?
Well, sir, we have again many questions, but due to time constraints, we have to integrate many other speakers.
Right.
So thank you, sir. Thank you for well explained and taken almost all over the points: 5Gs, blockchain, PSUs, fossil fuels, list of Naratna, MSME, Vande Bharat trains, 5G technology, and starting from 1G to 5G, the differences, how 2.4 kbps to 10 gbps. You have explained very nicely. Also, you have explained applications of various technologies, especially energy sectors, fuel cells, buildings, electric vehicles, and so on. Blockchain, AR, VR, hybrid reality, mixed reality, semantic annotators, RFID devices, IoT devices, and so on, like cyber security. Also, you have taken the name of the constellation of 24 satellites from outside India, and India has established our own satellites, Navi constellations after Kargil and all the situations faced by India and all. So you have covered almost many points and well explained, well described all those things. Along with that crystal ball and potential avenues ahead, PPP model and all, 5G blockchains and other technologies, especially the VUCA word and all. Also, you have explained the questions asked by the participants very nicely. I would like to say thank you very much to sir, to Annam Kishore sir. Thank you for this wonderful presentation and all. Now,
thank you very much, sir. The words in the last bullet point of this slide: AIM is Atal Innovation Mission, ATL is Atal Tinkering Labs, and I'm a member of that, contributing to Smart India Hackathons as well as for the Atal Innovation Mission. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this.
So I would unshare so that you can focus on other trainers.
Now, okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So now it's high time to invite our second speaker from Japan, Dr. Dinda Pramanta, who is assistant professor at Kyushu Institute of Information Sciences, especially the province, the prefecture called Fukuoka Prefecture. Under that place is prefecture known as that states in India. So like that way there, especially the Professor Dr. Dinda Pramanta he has a postdoctoral candidate was in a NEDO project. Fortunately, I was also the part of NEDO project earlier, and at the Tomoko Laboratory Graduate School of LSSE and Kyushu Institute of Technology, the same place. And EVMT NLP lab, he has done internship at Waseda Universities. Along with that he has studied on feasibility of FPGA implementation of resolution and formal analogy between strings and symbols. He's having many more research papers, many more research guidance on like PhD students. Hibikino Musahi at Homo Robot Group research team, he's the part of that. And the projects he has done and held, that Sakura Science 2018, and part of that JST, like Japan Science Technology JST Agency under the Kyushu Institute of Technology. Also in the RoboCup to 2017, Nagoya. Nagoya is another place that far from Fukuoka Prefecture. We have visited that Nagoya and all, Hibikino Musahi home, like Kyushu Institute of Technology and all. So like that way I can say like introduction will be not less. This was the brief introduction of our Honorable Dr. Dinda Pramanta. So Dinda Sensei, please go ahead, start your presentation. I welcome you to this session and warm welcome to this conclave, Technology Development Conclave. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you for a brief introduction. First of all, I would like to confirm. So I already shared my slide. So can you see my slide first?
Slide you have to share, sir.
Yes, I already share. Stop screen. Okay, but already is. Okay.
Is it visible? I hope so.
Yes, I think it's fine.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Once again, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm delighted to be here today to discuss emerging trends of advanced technology for growth public sector unit. So before we begin, I would like to once again take a moment to express my gratitude to everyone who has made this event possible. So I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the organizer of this event for providing me with this opportunity. I will be able to be here with this such a great organizer. And also, I would like also thanks to Dr. Binay Kumar and Dr. Jayaprakash as my senior in Japan. We used to talk and research to each other, and somehow I got many insight from Dr. Jayaprakash. So guests and also participants in this valuable time, thanks to attend, and without your support, this will never be even possible. So today I'm here to talk about the development of brain-inspired computing and its application towards Society 5.0. So previously, Professor Kishore is mentioning about 5G technology, well explained. So I got so many insight and point. So I'm really amazed with his deep knowledge about specific, even in technical, even in so many experiences. So from this, I will try to reach more from the different side or point of view. So which is currently since I'm working in Japan as an assistant professor, and I'm researching about the design and implementation of low power and high speed AI. Well, beside of that, education, teaching and supervising seminar and etc. And let's move on to the next slide. So today contents, it's written in the slide. So first of all, I would like to give more specific purpose and objective, and explain some introduction of AI development history, and also try to highlighting the emergent trend of advanced technology for the growth PSU, and also concept Society 5.0, and followed by the formulation and how perhaps we can benefit each other. Perhaps Japan also need information and technology from the government of India, which is already adopted or in the future. So, and also why AI relatively fast, in this case, brain-inspired computing is selected, and also about the specific neural computing. And last but not least, potential challenges, of course, the future direction where it's going to be a go, and followed by the conclusion. So, okay, let's go to the purpose of this talk. So, I would like to basically sharing knowledge about, I hope we can get a benefit to each other, development of brain-inspired computing and the application towards Society 5.0 in the context of emerging trend of advanced technology for the growth of PSU. So I believe this from perspective from the Japan's point of view, 5.0 also including so many technology already mentioned by Professor Kishore, is 5G also. Well, it's really becoming a main, I'll say, source of technology, because we know that IoT also already becoming more, demanded. So I hope in this case we can benefiting each other. So in order to achieve the purpose of this talk, there are several objectives that I made as fellow. So first, to provide an overview of brain-inspired computing and its feature and advantages, and also to describe the concept of the Society 5.0, and also to identify potential and commonalities. In this case, I'll try to make a common advanced technology. And last but not least, also discuss the current challenges and future direction in brain-inspired computing and research development for broad public sector unit, TSU. Let's go for the introduction part. So we're going to the AI development history. So basically, history of AI, mostly we, as an academic in Japan, history of AI is also always mentioning this kind of bump of AI. We call this bump, or like some Yamakatachi means like things look like a mountain. So first of all, the first generation of AI was found by ENIAC, was the first electronic general purpose computer developed by United States in the mid-1940s. However, this first major setback in AI occurred in 1954 due to the practical use of IBM translator, which resulted in strange translations such, for example, English to Russian. I think it was English Bible translated into Russian Bible and back to the English again. It become really awesome mass or not appropriate translation. And also in 1966, ALPAC, or Automatic Language Processing Advisory Committee report concluded that machine translation was still far from achieving human level accuracy, which is, it tends to be like people not really tend to use this kind of technology. And also the second generation of AI, we call it like ELSA. So this kind of chatbot that, however, this second generation was mostly about the information knowledge. So computer to become a more important or crucial aspect of AI. So the development of dialogue systems such as ELSA was significant breakthrough in this area. However, the downfall of this era was due to the computer's inability to accumulate the process important knowledge automatically. So which has also outcome to be making costs eventually leading to abandonment, because cost is going to be high and high. So we can see that the second downfall happening maybe during the year of 2000. And now around the beginning of year 2010, that the AlphaGo project, I think is already somehow already been explained with the previous slide. But I just want to highlight that the project AlphaGo is IBM project in 2015 from the Mr. Fan Hui. He's a Chinese-born French, so he's Japanese chess. He's a Ego player, which is a Japanese chess game pro player, defeated by the Deep Blue. So from this moment, so the AI or people, or especially in the business sector, put the investment more and more, because they really put in trust with the power of a computer can learn or adapt to human behavior. So from this AlphaGo project happened, and become a lot of branches comes up, such as IBM Watson, deep learning from Hinton, and ML also. And last but not least, with the late innovation, we have found, beside of the controversial and pros and cons, is a ChatGPT. So we came to know that this is, we already acknowledge, I think, because ChatGPT is one of the quite fascinating, whether it's direct or indirect, where this kind of technology and can entirely change how the human also ruling about the AI, especially about the policy, how to, especially human ethics and morals. And the AI coverage is, of course, within the three key points, AI, ML, and deep learning, are the three concepts that have revolutionized the field of computer science. So AI refers to the ability of machine to mimic human intelligence and perform tasks such as speech recognition, decision making, and also language translation. ML is a subset that AI involves training machine that to learn from data and improve their performance over time. So deep learning, on the other hand, is also involved, but this use artificial neural network to make accurate data more higher. So it requires training time. So However, this technology have enabled us to develop intelligent system can automate complex tasks and provide valuable insights, making them indispensable to the digital age. All right, currently right now. So now we're a little bit changing. I would like to highlight a little bit about how we can first about emerging trend of advanced technology for the growth of PSU from the government of India. Actually, I've been a little bit researched about what is the government of India try to achieve. So pardon me for my bad pronunciation. So basically, the Prime Minister of government of India, Sir Narendra Modi, has already campaigned the self-reliant India, which is Atmanirbhar Bharat, I guess. So pardon me for my pronunciation. So self-reliant India is consists with this several pillars. So from that I quote from this, I believe it's in the India website. So the government tried to launch to promote the domestic manufacturing. So India is trying to becoming a center of the, we can say advanced, also one of the advanced technology country. It doesn't mean that India cuts the communication between other countries. It's make India self-sufficient in various sectors. So the campaigns aims to boost the country economy by encouraging the entrepreneurship, innovation, and the use of indigenous resources. So it's emphasized the importance of local production, also consumption, and the creation of robust supply chain within the country, also becoming a main sector. So the campaign covers several sectors, including agriculture, manufacture, healthcare, technology, and defense, among others. So by global economic power, the reduce its dependence of foreign countries. So India is not really reliable on other countries. So they try to essentially to provide within self-sufficient to more make a good betterment and services. So in the other hand, I would like to introduce the concept of society 5.0. So this is from the Japan point of view. So I don't know, maybe there will be some similarity or of course the differences might be occurred. So please bear with me. So concept of society 5.0. Actually, in the 5th Science Technology Basic Plan adopted by Japanese cabinet in January 2016, so it's already established, and Japan government already they claim we are going to the society 5.0 as a core concept. So the definition in the Japan point of view that the human-centered society balance economic advancement with the resolution of social problem by system that highly integrates cyberspace and physical space. So here's the point of the key. The key is like the two realm between the cyberspace and physical space are integrated, and we hope that for the better society, and will achieve the human-centered or society that balance economic advancement. As you can see from the pictures, there's a lot of during the new, I think, since the history of human development. So we are going from the first step generation, which is hunting and gathering, which is society 1.0, and evolved to the society 2.0, which is agricultural era, and goes to the society 3.0, which is going to the industrial era. Then now we're currently perhaps in the age of the society 4.0, or in the age of information. So we are actually in the process to shifting to the new society, which is society 5.0. So let's get into deep for it. So the reason, because there's a limit what people can do in Japan. The task of finding necessary information from overflowing information is almost impossible to human capacity, and analyzing the one by one is very burdensome, and labor as a scope of action were restricted to the varying degrees of ability. So here, in Japan's point of view, they reform the innovation in society 5.0 will achieve the forward-looking society that breaks down all of the problem. The society whose members have mutual respect for each other, and every person can lead an active, enjoyable life. So as you can see from the picture, there's within one circle and 4 segmentation or diagram. that the current society, you can see from the picture from the right top right. So we can see that I think I already mentioned from the previous from the Professor Kishore, like about the drone, the function of drone, then can help the human, especially in Japan, we're facing the growth number of old people or the senior citizens. So it will be benefit for Japan if this kind of technology implemented. And also in the possibility of open to humans will expand through the robots, automatic driving cars. Also, with the we can see from the right below. So the delivering task will be much more easier than the used to. So also we can see that from the left bottom side picture that we can easily analyze to get our grasp the current, because we in the moment we are living in the society where the information, we get bombarded by the information. So with this kind of society, we are easily to analyze, especially for taking the true information or false information. And also in the top left means we can see the previous society is tend to be like one-by-one communication or one-by-one interaction. But currently, since the IoT and also advancing its technology, so we are living on social media. So people tend to having a network communication. So not between the ring or not within every point by point, but it's like fast like networks or like human brain or cell connecting to each other. So this kind of society will be much more included in Society 5.0. So from this, I'd like to try to formulate the relationship, and let's see what we can grasp, or we can let's say how find the connection is this. So let's say we have separated between those. We already mentioned that self-reliance in the government of India and the Japan Society 5.0, which is the physical realm and our cyber realm. So we have agreed that from the previous slide that since we already live in the information technology area, everything should be on technology based. Where of course there's another sectors that we need to take as a consideration, but as mentioned from the previous slide, I think Professor Kishore in the question session, there's how about the sector who works or non-IT sector. So I think it's all just matter of time. So everything technology-based driven technology is became the more core or more deep consideration to taking as a account. So there's another pillar between whether it's direct or direct. So economic, infrastructure, fiber democracy, also another things. The demand is basically we hope from the next generation that technology-driven system is our main core. So from here we can get, I think, similar or like try to grasp the common advanced technology that we need to struggle for it. So imagine this. Sorry to jump to this conclusion that why suddenly typical intelligent AI based which are fast and low power is required. So imagining in the Society 5.0, we expect that the mass spike communication will be occurred. So not mass spike, I think a mass communication will be occurred. So it's a common sense that typical AI based, which are low latency, again already mentioned from the previous. I think it's mentioned from Professor Kishore. So it's we need to fast and also low power required. So this is a main foundation that we need to think as for a better improvement or and so sustainability concept. In order to achieve this kind of typical power, typical intelligent processing, so I would like to propose with my brand, since my focus research is on brain-inspired computing base. So I hope this will take or change how the computation base is evolved. And let's get into it. So why is AI relatively fast? So in this case, brain-inspired computing concept. First of all, I would like to brief mention about the von Neumann concept of computation. Most of the current computation base is a von Neumann computation. However, well, if we expect this kind of computation and we expand to be more into 5.0, it's almost difficult because since the classic AI require more arithmetic logic unit. The von Neumann concept is basically accessing into the memory unit. So since the accessing memory unit takes time, and because accessing, requesting, and delivering, so it will leads to the bottleneck problem. So in this case, we need more and more resources, and more resources, which is lead to the time consumed and also leads to the high power consumption, which is, I think, for the most PSU or entrepreneur point of view, this cost is the most important things. Unless maybe for the maybe time, I think like Google, something like that, there's a cost doesn't have any problem at all. So this tends to high and really not suitable for the Society 5.0 concept. So back to the brain computing. Yeah. So the next propose the next generation of computing, which is shifting from the von Neumann computation base into the non-Feynman base. So, and you can see from this graph, so the machine complexity. So there's a graph from the source of DARPA's Synapse project from the American. So you can see that the things that took more and more complex when we are using the von Neumann machine is going to be high number of resources. But in the other hand, when we're using the neuromorphic or such a adapting the neural or brain cell connection, and we tend to get more little bit, or say fewer than the von Neumann machine. The idea is the concept we are using the only simple we can say like neuron element or simple computing neural element here. Then the neural computing for the, since they're only adapting from the neuron to neuron, we expect the low power scalable integration also be adaptable in the circuit. This research has been also been brought to the, going to the next slide. It's already been tried, and I think in IBM brain-like chips in the True North. So it's already established. I think 1 million program neurons are implemented, and you can see that it's already uses only 70 milliwatt per chip, which is quite very low, and the spiking rate is quite high. It's more than 1,000 hertz. So we can see that the concept of the brain-like computing is really promisable to especially for adapting or thwarting the new concept of society, in this case Society 5.0. So I'll try to brief up. So sorry to jump to the conclusion, which previously I mentioned the brain-like chip, then want to move to the FPGA. So basically I would like to introduce what I'm used to, or I think since I'm more focused on FPGA. So why FPGA? So since the FPGA that's a semiconductor which consists of I/O or interconnection switch and logic units, it's similar concept to the neuron. So the challenges is that we can somehow change the computation from the von Neumann concept into the non-von Neumann computation, which is neuron computing. So the challenges comes whenever how we implement the neural computing concept into the hardware. So FPGA, since it has a similarity concept, we can imagine that the logic is a part of the neuron, so we can easily, like a Lego box, to reconfigurable, which is once we configure, and we can rewrite the circuit. So which is that's another concept on advantage from the FPGA. So this feature is easy to redesign and utilizing only specific parts. So we don't really say it's a good for development and also used for the sustainability hardware concept. So sustainable concept is, for example, in single hardware, we know continuity has the limitation handling the desired functional leads to no sustainability. So tends to change the hardware maybe frequently, since the the technology change so rapid. So we expect that by using the potential from this specific chip of FPGA, then multiplying in the stacks, that source is suitable for sustainable development. So we can easily, like Lego blocks, to add or remove what's important parts only. So with this concept, perhaps it will be a good or easily to design the Society 5.0. So among the ASICs, I try to make the table comparison. So among the FPGA, there's another processor like GPU, graphic processing unit, and CPU also, like mostly normal computer already implemented. So in this case, the FPGA is most dependent in the sense of power and the speed processing. However, in GPU cases, well, mostly is used for the neural network and some of artificial neural or CNL, like in the image processing. It's really fast. However, the power resource tends to be very high. So we expect that from the FPGA that this will be implemented in the, for example, a mobile robot, because mobile robot having a problems later I will discuss. And so we know that the power, high power consumed leads to the battery is easy to run off. So we hope that FPGA can tackle this kind of problem. Also, among the circumstances that in the current situation, the giant tech CPU chip maker, well, AMD belongs to Xilinx, belongs to AMD, and Altera belongs to Intel. Now they are trying to competing each other. In the recent news, the giant Xilinx has been acquired by the AMD, now called the Xilinx AMD. And also Intel also stick with the Altera, with called Altera. I think there's a quite news about the recent update, so maybe I haven't checked it yet. So, but since that the FPGA or investment will tend to be more growth, so this is becoming a real very good topic and consideration about how the opportunity can be taken from this kind of phenomenon. So who will hold the FPGA leadership going forward? This is maybe the audience or others can answer this question. So, okay, going to the neurocomputing, I would like to explain the feature and specific in this my research, PCPO, pulse coupled phase oscillator. So basically, I'll try to brief the explanation. So PCPO is a pulse coupled phase oscillator. Basically, is the Winfrey model, which is a design model for behavioral coupled oscillators. We make oscillators to behave like neuron models, so it connect typically connect a lot between neighbor topology. So the model explains the local interaction only, but can generate various phenomena in the large scale in a network, so in array. So in the next slide, the basic of this, of how the oscillator works, is we try only based on the updating positive update and negative update base. So in this case, once we're using the coupling function, which is used by the sine wave, or we can design or any kind of angular or say circular activity. So once it's, for example, in a positive update, once it's reached the time, then the pulse going up. Then in the negative updates, when the reach to the threshold, then the spike tend to be lagging. So pulse timing is changed by updating. So this is a very good feature from the pulse coupled phase oscillator, is that we only use the one line signal to require the for spike pulse communication. So it's already been published, I think, from Suedo Misa. So in the neurocomputing to 2015. And from previous research, I tried, I think I did experiment a simple basic between two devices, and simple basic 2 times 2 oscillators within over 2 FPGA. And this connection, I'm using the serial communication, try to how the networks really interaction to each other. Does the synchronization in this case occur or not occur? So the result goes like this. In the broader network experiment, I tried 3 times 3, 6 times 6, 10 times 10, and the result, and we can see that the synchronization occurred. You can from the previous, I think in the left below here, in the initiation state, the color tends to be randomly. Then once I simulated the synchronization occurred until maybe a certain clock. This already achieved very fast within the FPGA, but the result is quite good since we only use a fewer number of resources. However, when we increase the number of oscillators, it also gives the number of resources increases. So the number of neurons also be considerable, depends on how much information you want to implement. And despite, of course, in the hardware, delay always occurred. So this not really big, or it's not really a good thing. It's not really big at all. So the FIFO delay effects, because it's a serial concept. So once the first inversion in, then comes out, they need waiting for a moment. So delay effects occurs in a system with a total constant 1.9% of interval count spike. And this research has been published in the International Conference of Neural Network Processing in 2019. And also try to use another application from DCTO. We try to utilize how, or like to say, imitate the conventional of reservoir computing. Reservoir computing is a type machine that learning algorithm is designed to efficiently solve the temporal tasks, such, for example, speech recognition, signal processing, time series prediction. So the idea is basically human tends to, everything tends to process inside the brain. However, when there's some parts of the brain that we don't have to take consideration inside the brain, we can directly to say speak and thinking, or like presenting like this. So the idea is that we avoid this, let's say, training parts in this case. So we hope that by adopting the reservoir computing, that the process becomes much faster. Then we replace the conventional reservoir computing from the, I think is you can see from the left side, conventional reservoir computing into like in the reservoir part, that we change it into the PCPO. Then the result goes like this. The experiment we use test the input signal or information using the sine wave, then output becomes a double sine wave. So you can see the output signal and target signal, it tends to be we are mimicking the target signal. However, there's a consideration about the accuracy, but it doesn't mean that this accuracy tends to be high. And the result of this comparison between the conventional one, we can claim that the number of resources within the same FPGA much more fewer resources compared to the previous one. So this also research has been published in 2020 in International Conference of Neural Network, IIHR. So that's all I can establish that I'll say neural computing is really important for the society. Then let's say good. So I would like to, let's say we want to know what potential that can, especially in Japan, that why Society 5.0 and what kind of investment that we can achieve. So here in why Japan put on trust in low power AI robots. You can see from this slide that from the National Institute of Population and Social Security, this says that Japan elderly of 65 years above, they will increase up to 33.3% by the year 36. I think it's just a matter of time. So currently it's 2023. So and you can see the forecast of Japanese robotic industry through until 2035. The service sector is very growth. You can see from the, I think the sources from the New Energy on NEDO project, they're creating a robotic industry market and research and market analysis domestic global trends in technology. So you can see the service sector is leading above all the other sector. So you can see in, I think many advertisement in Japan, and they're providing very good entertainment, service entertainment, In this case, for example, in the restaurant, I think I already mentioned before that you can say that the restaurant, we can just order menus and it automatically appear, or it's just a robot serving you. So this kind of service sector becoming a more prior in Japan. So, however, we come to see the power spike and how battery makers can respond to surging demands from EVs. And in Japan also, where first of all, many companies, many automation industry changed also into the investment in the electric vehicle. So I think this is from the McKinsey research private. I think this is in result that the demand by 2030, 40% of global battery demand could come from China. So evenly split between the top two battery chemistry. So despite I think in 2008 there's a paper like from the Professor Jeff that the new generation of lithium-ion batteries coupled with rising oil price and need to address climate change has sparked global risk to electrified transportation. So within 14 years, we just came to research also lately 2020 in last year from Mr. Sun and his members that the surging lithium price will not impact the electric vehicle boom. So basically, even though we know that there's a huge demand about the electric vehicle, especially battery, lithium battery, that there's no any, I think it's not going to be, stop or giving any problem to the, electric vehicle boom. So this is quite interesting. So why? This is a big why. Maybe another professor or maybe audience also can help me to answer this. So this is interesting that also that service sector could potentially grow in Japan. Also, you can mention. I already mentioned that the service sector is the main, big investment in Japan, such as fashion, service including health, business, including hotel, food and beverage, and co-working space, entertainment and creative, games, including so this could potentially grow in Japan. However, challenge occur here. I think I will try to go with the first mobile robot challenges. Not only mobile electric vehicle, like let's say wearing electric deviceable or like any challenge. So basically, almost of this kind of devices require battery. So it requires long-last battery or easy charging or wireless charging. However, low power, energy, or fast and high accuracy, high precision is demandable. So also currently there's a research already, I think in ongoing that they are going to make more robot, or especially everything with contact interaction with the human made from the safety material. So in material research is already ongoing. So we can see that the watch over robot, cleaning robot, nursing robot is also part of every sectors of robot industry. Like you can see that the robot require access to AI network, ability to predict any harmful situation, ability to learn and teach, and this only occur by when we are solving our problem, and we can redesign how we design how the robot communicate. So in this case, I propose the communication only using the spike based on the brain-inspired computing. In another way, Japan has facing the very I think it's the reality challenges. The low birth rate result in labor shortage. So the labor shortage outcome is like the lack of researchers. So lack of, to be honest, that it's very hard to get the, this is my opinion, to gain or get the permission to establish independent for such as foreign, so becoming independent in Japan to establish this kind of research, but it's quite difficult. And you can see that using the Hopkins calculation formula, the preliminary birth figure, the Asian newspapers has calculated in 2021 birth rates in Japan quite going to decline. So around 80500. So we would not expect until 2028. And also currently, I also feel this kind of problems, that global chip shortage. So in Japan, it's very hard to order such kind of semiconductor devices. So this may be due to the maybe Japan diplomatic strategy, or maybe yeah, it's very insensitive topic, I guess. So this also happened to the most of the automotive industry in Japan. So due to the lack of semiconductor, because the EV vehicle includes so many sensors and computerized system up inside of this kind of system. So the selling of the automotive industry is becoming lower compared to the previous one. So the results when become weak now. So to be honest, so this problem is also a challenge. I think it's quite challenging from the Japan's perspective. However, in general challenges, we can see that from the wider perspective, that the challenge also occurs not from the inside but from the outside. So this kind of quite sensitive topics, that the values creation, because new society somehow how we react, how we interact with others, with robots, utilize the AI technology. We need to design the ethics and moral, I think, in this case, and also sustainably in environment, whatever. For example, the landscape in Japan is drastically changed. For example, in the rural area, there's no any, I'll say, advanced technology there, but in some parts of area, it's really advanced technology. So it's quite unbalanced. So maybe there's already tried to balancing, but also it's having problem with the infrastructure and such a IoT installment, maybe 5G also to improve the coverage or something like that. So, and also the personal data security tends to be very high risk. Japan is one of the country that really consider about the data security. So it's very difficult to get, for example, that maybe it's very hard to get the data, or even you cannot show your picture unless you get the consent from the person that you want to publish that photos or something like that. And even you can see so many video on demands only within certain periods. So this kind of data security is very hot topic in Japan. So the future direction. So I think that beyond 5.0, which already, I think some research project already been doing. So in this case, I try to quote so many, project from the research lab, or like some, startup company in Japan. So HUG project is a revolutionary initiative that you can see that from the top here. Top picture shows that HUG project is like the revolutionary initiative that aim to replace robot with ourselves. So actually, the concept is not replacing 100%. The concept is simple. Instead of relying on machine to perform tasks that require human touch. I think there's some, I think I forgot the name, that they already been in China, has just like made some devices that replace human lips to, so people can interact without, human touch. That they're providing like the digital or devices like similar like human lips. So they somehow can kiss through maybe long distance. So this kind of idea has been, I think, already started in China. But in Japan, that we try, like this I think in this project shows that the old or the father couldn't attend the son's wedding. So they're replacing their presence with robot. But however, from the father's perspective, they can see from the like goggle that what's happening in the real situation, and the robot directly can speak to the sons, so everything. And the other part is like in the below pictures, that the disabled person, and we try to our best in Japan to not to lose the engagement to the society, so they can still pursue the academic study and also can work as a part of the society, which is a replacement to the robot. There's another, I think it's from the fashion. This is AU from the AU company. So one of the three top telecommunication in Japan, that the AU Vision Studio already, I think, published their work on tends to the next. They're going to the virtual also fashion concept that you can create your own avatar and you can design and you can everything's is more like, you know, yeah, you can basically change and select your shoes, everything like that. You can even develop your own character basically. So everything is like in you design your virtual avatar. So I think relate to the metaverse, something like that. So you can create your own personalization based on what you want to be. That is the idea of the concept. Then there's another startup also working on the game. So basically, you can see that from the right side, this pictures. This basically there's left abandoned a cave from Japan. So, but they try to utilize the mixed reality. Then this game is like Island Mirror Edge, and the thing is like you can use wearable electric devices and everything's like. Yes.
Yes, please wind up now. Yes, yes.
Okay,
please.
I will pass the mic in. Okay, then there's going to be like Beyond 5 there's SkyDrive and also Amazon Prime Air that you can, as we already mentioned before, and Tesla also working on the autopilot. Maybe autopilot still having so many challenges. Then we somehow, well, we're not, we are not longer to wait for the new invention here. And also already, I think it's already mentioned that robots serve, you know, everything is provided by a robot since Japan lack of a short S labor. So this is the picture of like the Hibiki no Musashi already published or already implemented their idea of using this kind of robot. So in the izakaya or like some bar shop in Japan. So the conclusion, I would like to conclude that the brain-inspired computing represents a promising area of research and development. So the Japan Society 5.0 also concept is a human-centered society that balances economic advancement with the resolution of social problems by a system that highly integrates cyberspace and physical space. And the third one, the commonalities between Society 5.0 in Japan and self-reliant India lie in adoption of advanced technology that can help solving societal problems, promoting social equity, and improving the quality of life of citizens. And the last but not least, addressing the current challenges and pursuing future direction will be key to realizing the full potential in this technology and its application in the public sector. Thank you for your time. I think I will give it back to Dr. Jeffrekas. Thank you.
Thank you, Dinda Sensei. Very nicely you have explained. We have some questions from participants. So we cannot take all the questions, but I'm taking a few of them. First question is why AI is relatively fast, like brain-inspired computing task you have explained. So AI is relatively fast. Can you explain one more time?
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, I'll try to explain why AI is relatively fast. So the idea is brain-inspired computing is basically from from Professor Wolfgang that the computer science that get some idea that brain cells is from in a human brain that the cells communication between cells. It's I think it's I forgot in the detail less than microseconds that you can communicate with this idea. So how about we implement this type of communication in the for example in hardware or in for Society 5.0. So the idea is we removing the most of computation is using von-Neumann computation. We're using this memory as a main or in accessing we wait for something and delivering, then this takes many times. But however, in neuron concept, we are only using the neuron whether this is spike or not spike. So when it's reached to the tends to the threshold, then you go spike. Whether, for example, in this case, spike means yes or not, spikes mean no or otherwise. So this of course require I'll say long, say not long, maybe yes, maybe relative long to more practically adapted to the hardware. But however, in the biology, in the software cases, then adapting the neural computing is demandable and easy to adopt due to the maybe simple, and we can create the neuron concept. But however, for adapting to the hardware, we need to specific design the what kind of for example ALU, arithmetic logic unit, to design or change into the neuron, something like that. So
nice
yes, I think I hope to answer the question.
One more question. We have many questions, but I am taking last question.
Sure, please.
That is from your research point of view, FPGA.
Yes.
FPGA to neural computation design facility with less power. So yes. How that facility? Yes, please.
So okay, my focus is in a low power system. So basically, the concept is like we take from the biologist perspective, which one is the lowest one that we can observe within the human body, that the brain communication with quite fast, because the communication between neuron to neuron is pretty fast. Then the other part from the hardware, we try to seek I think I mentioned in the table one that in the hardware at the end we need to say change it into the chip, let's say GPU, CPU, and there's FPGA, and also so many things. But the most common or lowest one is FPGA. So between these two philosophy, that the brain concept low power and the FPGA having the lowest one, we try to integrate this part, and I hope this is we can solve the problem within, for example, power shortage, and maybe you could say that I'm not sure, maybe for example, if this power problem that doesn't have any problem, for example, in Google, that then they're having a very giant GPU that you need, that supercomputer everything can process by it. So however, for this for those who are having a problem in the power shortage, that FPGA is the solution so far. And so there's another theory that maybe brain-inspired computing can be replaced by quantum computing, but it's very, I don't know, because it's not of my field. That in Japan we are competing from the point of brain-inspired computing and maybe other computing also. Especially we are trying to move shifting to next generation computing, to not using any von Neumann computation.
Thank you, Sensei. Thank you, Dinda Sensei. Very nicely explained and answered the questions by the participants. And the way you have explained about the history of AI, concept of Japan Society 5.2, relationship between India and Japan, typical intelligent processing system, von Neumann limits, especially starting from 1945, John von Neumann days, FPGA chip, field programmer, get your research field areas, and sustainable concept, maximizing the potential of hardware, very important for the manufacturing field and all. FPGA is especially highly demand due to the high its power and its processing in speed. PCPU, especially some previous researches and multi FPGA results. Very nicely you have explained about power spike for battery makers and service sectors, especially some challenges, and for especially the service sectors, the challenges for the fashion, health, and for Japan can be one imitating point, or can be a lesson for the India and other countries.
I hope
especially
so.
The final challenges you have taken, value creation, sustainability, infrastructure and personal data security that is for all over the world. And I hope very nicely explained. I hope participants has enjoyed well. And in Japanese, thank you. In hiragana, you have written very nicely. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you, Sensei.
Can I say something for maybe this will be the last closing?
Please.
So actually, so I have not. I mean, I almost more than I think long. I think is for me it's very difficult to regain my English speaking. So I used to more or speak in Japanese. So somehow it takes more time to become more get to use it anymore. So please pardon my pronunciation. I always represent Japan or India. I didn't mean to say bad things. And thanks to all organization, and I hope we can benefiting each other. Please, if you have any consideration or question, you can mail me anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei. Thank you for the time, your valuable time and all. And well explained, your English pronunciation is better than others, I know. And here even spectators and participants had enjoyed your research and all. So thank you, Sensei. Now it's high time for the next speaker. We have some technical difficulty with the Singapore participants, that speaker. So we are going to connect our next speaker, Dr. Swapnil Saurabh, sir. So I would like to add you. I hope.
Good evening, sir. Can you hear me clearly?
I hope you are available. Yeah. Very good evening, sir. I can hear you, and you can share your PPT.
Yes, sir.
So I will add it here. So meanwhile, I would like to introduce Swapnil Saurabh, sir. He is having very rich experience, especially 19 plus years of experience in the field of software, banking, and he has accomplished versatile professional, the passion of understanding customers' challenges, especially the expertise is in business analytics. Currently, he has associated with that ServiceNow and value engineering in projects, analytic conceptual thinking, machine learning, natural language processing. He has authored many books, Python, machine learning, Java, many books. He has authored some technologies. He has like R, Python, SQL, Oracle, MS, so on and so on. I can say more than for 5 minutes, but with the lack of time, I cannot say much more. But let him. I will allow to speak. I hope your PPT is ready. I hope your PPT is visible to all of you.
So yes, sir, I have shared my PPT. Can you confirm, sir, if you can see?
Yeah, we can see. Utilizing blockchain technology in India's PSUs.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir. And good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for taking out time on a Sunday evening. We in these busy days we get very less time to spend with family, and you all have decided to spend your Sunday evening to learn something new, which is really good. Thank you so much for coming. Before I begin, I would like to thank you, the organizers, IIHR and the team, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to interact with you all. It's really thank you so much, JP sir and Binay sir, for organizing this. I think in today's world, I think where technology is changing very fast, right? When we try to master one technology, another technology comes up in some part of the world, right? It becomes very difficult. Forget about mastering, even to know the technology, it takes, it is very difficult for us. So organizations, like IHR is doing a great job of organizing such technology events. And I think, participants, I know it's not possible to master these in 1 hour of session, right? But at least this gives you some idea about what's happening around the world, and you can master these and try to learn things from here. So again, great presentations that I have witnessed today. So you have a very good list of speakers as well. So I'm going to make my small contribution to today's session. I'm going to talk about blockchain, and how it can help our PSUs. So I don't want to treat PSUs different than any other company, because yes, they are also business. Their aim is also to make money like any corporate, right? But they also have extra responsibility of looking at the society, right? So I think the responsibilities that are with PSU is even bigger, right? You, at the end of the day, yes, they have to make money, right? They have to make profit, and also make sure that society is being a better place, right? And we have talked, we have seen this climate change, and things are, is not so good with COVID and things like that. World is changing, and I think it becomes so much more important for PSU to take lead, right? And I think PSU should be the one that should take lead in adopting new technologies and showing to the private sectors how PSUs can actually deliver both on profit as well as on commitment to the society. So how do blockchain can help our PSUs to take it forward and do this do the service for the society. So I'm not an expert. I'm not going to talk about how you can help. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about what is blockchain and why blockchain, where it is used. Okay, and of course you can take that concept and see where in your business, where in your department we can use it. Okay, so blockchain is little different than other technologies that we have heard. Other technologies like we spoke about IoT, or the advanced technologies that we have spoken about, these are all in your hand, right? So it's up to us to use 5G, or we spoke about 6G and things like that. It's in your hand whether you use it or not. Blockchain goes beyond one organization. So blockchain is not about one company. Blockchain is about companies working together. And that is the biggest challenge, because if you want to do it, let's say as a company you want to do it, you cannot achieve it until and unless your partner, okay, also decides to join you in the blockchain, right? And there are some um, challenges also, and I'm going to talk about those things as well as the advantages and things like that in the next few slides. So if you look at blockchain as a technology, it is where internet was in probably 1995. Okay, so after almost like 20, 25, 30 years of internet, imagine, see the world where we have progressed, right? It is not possible a world without network. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Okay. So let's see. Before we begin, this was a tweet by our PM few months back, and it's so I'm so happy to see leaders of our country talking about blockchain, Internet of Things at that level. So you know that when your leader talks about these technologies, the country is going right direction, right? So I'm really happy, that we are on the right track. We are going in right direction. Okay, so as I said, my topics are blockchain. What is blockchain? Why it is so secure? Why should we adopt blockchain? Right. So let's get into details. Okay. So before I get into details, I want to talk about one scenario, one example. Okay. So let's say you want to build a self-driving car, right? We all talk about self-driving cars is the future, right? Let's say as a company you want to build a self-driving car. Now, it's not possible to have all the technologies, everything in-house. Okay. So let's say that you decide to make body in India, you want to make engine somewhere in Japan, you want to import some electronic components from, let's say, China, you want to have software for it imported from US, you want to have safety systems being made by Germany, so you want to adopt that, you want to use assembly lines present in Thailand. Okay, this is the normal scenario now, right? Where the world has become one single place. You cannot, expect to draw lines between countries. Okay, apart from geo political things, most of the businesses, we cut across those things and we work together, right? And so let's say you have all this. So if you look at a supply chain, a typical supply chain, you have different levels of supply, different tiers of suppliers. Like for example, tier one are those who will directly supply to you, right? So let's say if you are making this car, so tier one suppliers are those who will directly send you, let's say, tire, steering wheels, things like that. Tier two suppliers are suppliers which supplies to your tier one suppliers, right? Tier three could be the suppliers who supplies to your tier two suppliers, right? And it could be like multi-tier. And at the end, you have those primary producers. Now we talk about people who make rubber, people. I mean, sorry, companies that make rubber. That they do mining. Okay, they are the last chain, the last player in the chain. So it is a big chain, right? And you know, uh, generally expecting, we kind of assume that, or we expect about 30,000 plus components that will go into a self-driving car, and you will have hundreds plus suppliers, okay, at different levels, different chain. Now, how do you keep track of the quality? Okay, you cannot talk to 100 suppliers. You cannot. It's not possible. It's not that we don't want to, but it's not possible to talk to your supplier, right? Tier three supplier. So we need a mechanism. Okay, we need a mechanism using which we can talk to different suppliers. You can talk to different people in the chain, isn't it? And make sure that the quality process that you accept or you expect from your suppliers are maintained, right? So, like, I always give this example. Let's say if you take a mobile phone by, say, Apple, right? Uh, they don't do, they just do design, right? And everything is manufacturing done by somewhere else. They have different suppliers which supplies parts to Apple factory. Now when something goes wrong, let's say your phone doesn't work, your screen breaks, phone bends and things like that. So Apple cannot say that, sorry, my job is only to design. We don't manufacture. We don't manufacture different components. So that's not our responsibility, right? When Apple puts their logo on it, everything is responsibility of Apple, isn't it? And so is the case with PSUs as well. So when you produce some product out of your plant, out of your factory, out of your office, okay, it is on your name. You are responsible. You cannot blame on your suppliers saying that, sorry, we are not responsible for that because some XYZ supplier somewhere in the chain made some goof up, right? So there's so much of responsibility on you as a company, which is the front facing, that you make things for India and Indians, isn't it? So you have the responsibility of every process that goes behind it, whether it is happening in your organization or outside your organization, right? So we need a kind of, let's call it computer system. Let's call it as computer system with an internet, right? Where all these players will connect and give the data to it. Okay. Now, but those data can be manipulated, right? So if you have an internet, right, and those data could be manipulated, isn't it? How do you make sure that data is not manipulated? So at a basic level, at a very basic level, you can think blockchain as a system connected to the internet where different players will connect to it, okay, and share their information, okay, but which is secure, okay, where once you enter the data, you cannot change the data. Okay, so it is a distributed system, okay, where every player has a role to play. Every player, every company's, every partner of yours has same kind of access to the system. Now, let's say if I create a system and where I say, okay, I'm going to manage it, everybody, give your data to me, I'll manage it. Will you trust? You will not trust. Okay, because what if I manipulate your data? What if I use your data for wrong purpose? It can always happen, right? I can take your, if I keep your data, then I can manipulate it and I can tell you that, see, you gave me the wrong data, but that's not true. So you need a system where everybody trusts. Okay, I think the reason why, if again, if you talk about SAP kind of system, or we have so much, different systems which
Sorry to interrupt
integrate.
you, sir.
Sorry, sir, can you hear me?
Sir, your PPT, we can hear you. Sir, your PPT is not moving.
Yes, yes, I'm still talking about this one only, sir.
Okay.
So yes, I'm still talking about chain. I want to talk about what supply chain is. Sorry, blockchain is, and then I'll move, sir. So I was saying that you need a system where everybody feels it is their system, right? If you feel that, okay, this system is my system, my data will be secure, my data will not be used in wrong way, then you will start trusting and you will start giving your data, isn't it? So blockchain is a concept, okay, where we create a, what do you call, trusted, secure network between partners. Okay, so the definition, it says is blockchain is a decentralized. Okay, so nobody controls this, even though you could be the one who initiates this, but you cannot control it, right? And that's why sometimes government kind of doesn't want it. But if I'm going to give you examples where our government is very supportive, and we have already launched so many different projects in India, where we want people to come and use blockchain. So it is a decentralized system where everybody is an owner. Okay, you do not have one owner, and it's a ledger of all transactions. So ledger means it's a file. It's where you make all the transactions. Okay, across a peer-to-peer network, right? Every player in your system, in your network, is as important as you are. You give same importance to your partner. Only then you will win their trust. Okay, and as I said, right? So when you do see, let's take an example. Okay, let's take an example of a uh, where you and your partner has a contract. Okay, it's legal contract. You and your partner enter into some kind of legal contract, and the business is based on that contract. But let's say your partner breaks the contract. Now, when your partner breaks the contract, then what do you do? Okay, so in normal circumstances, you actually go to third party. Could be court, could be body which does the arbitration, right? You go to a court and you say that, see, my partner has broken this. This is the proof, and the case will go on for long time, where you have to submit proof, they will have to submit proof, and you have to kind of make sure that the third party, which is neutral party, okay, is convinced that your partner has broken the contract. In blockchain, okay, there is no central authority. Then who controls the system? So what happens is, when you make a contract, the contract is visible to everybody in the chain. Okay, so when you enter into contract with supplier one, that copy is made available to everyone. So it's like olden days, when when you make some contract or some kind of agreement, you will have witnesses, isn't it? You will have witnesses. Here, everybody in the chain is a witness. Now it becomes difficult to change the system, because everyone has a copy. Now, if you even try to change your copy, okay, you have 10 other copies, which is the original one, right? So you cannot actually change one copy. So that way, it kind of becomes a certifying authority, where everybody is a certifying authority. You do not have court, you do not have body like, let's say, RBI, which does all the decisions in finance transaction, or like SEBI, so there's not one such body. Everybody is equal and everybody has a copy. Now it is not possible for you to influence witnesses, right? All these peers which are connected to your system. Okay, so this is how blockchain work. I hope I have been able to give you some idea about blockchain. The first blockchain concept was used for Bitcoin, okay, cryptocurrency, but that is one of the application. Okay, we have tons of other applications. People only know about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency when they talk about blockchain. But that is just one such aspect of blockchain. We have many such aspects, which I'm going to talk about a little bit in some time. So, looking at the principles now, again, summarizing what I have said, it is a distributed database, right? So, database is distributed with among all the partners who are part of the blockchain. I said blockchain cannot be made by just for one company or two companies. You need many players to be part of your network. So, this database is distributed. Every one of the blockchain has access to the same database, or in fact, they all have a copy of the database. So it's not one database where, let's say my system crashes, so all the data is lost. No, because everybody has a copy. So even if one, two, three system crashes, also you have other systems which will have the data safe. So when you bring your system back live, you will get a copy from other peers and from the system. It is peer-to-peer communication. Okay, everybody, okay, in the system they talk to each other, and everybody can see what is happening. Okay, so trust is built. It's not like I'm not hiding from. No, I'm not talking to one partner. I'm hiding information from third partner. So everybody knows. Now this is important because, let's say, for some reason you need a extra paper, right? Now you have a vendor who supplies paper and materials to you, and you suddenly there's an increase in demand. Now you are asking your vendor, can I have extra paper next month? I need, so many extra bundle of papers. Now when you talk, now your supplier will also have a supplier, tier 2 supplier. So when you talk to tier 2 supplier already knows that, oh, company is looking for more paper, so this guy will come to me.
Sir, you are not audible. Swapnil sir, you are not audible, sir. I think some technical difficulty we have. So let me connect once again. So meanwhile, one question we have from our previous speaker, A.T. Kishore sir. Sir, are you there?
Yes, please carry on. Yeah.
Sir, one question was there from one of our participants. Will 6G be sustainable? So I hope, yes, Swapnil sir has joined now. I hope some technical difficulty was there. You are not able to listen you.
Yes, sir. Actually, my system just now crashed, sir. My laptop
Okay.
crashed. I don't know what happened. I'll have to
Okay.
repair it. But sir, if you don't mind, can you share my screen, sir? I cannot connect my computer. I'm connecting through phone now.
Okay.
Suddenly,
Okay.
all of a
Okay.
sudden, system crashed.
Okay, sir. We are trying. We are trying for that. Meanwhile, we have one question.
Okay, sir.
Kishore sir, please go ahead. I hope question is clear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
please go ahead.
yeah, thank you. So unlike other challenges we had with WiMAX and other technologies which were not successful in implementation, I see no reason why 6G will fail, because it is seamlessly integrated with 5G. the radios of 6G will not be distinct from 5G. It will be like a software change, and only the aspects of where 6G accommodates new features will be implemented. So it's a gradual evolution. So where the new benefits that the 6G brings to the market, that is the NT, that is the non-terrestrial aspect, is a big value addition to the 5G. Definitely 6G will be successful because it will accommodate the flying objects and the UTM, that is UAV traffic management, for beyond visual line of sight. And it would help in a better because nowadays our startups are starting to launch their own satellites and launching pads and things like that. They're like a Skyroot and Agnicool, I explained. There are many other startups too. So 6G would play a role in extending the terrestrial communication to the space and beyond the normal terrestrial operations. Therefore, 6G will be successful.
Yes, sir. Very nicely you have answered. Meanwhile, we are sharing your PPT. Sir, one more question is there with you, sir. If you don't mind, can I ask, as participant has asked to you? Kishore, sir.
Yeah, I am available. Yeah, please.
Okay. So the question was how lead in COP 28, that is what? Lead in COP 28, that is what? So the question has been asked by participant. Kindly answer.
Yeah, typically India had a few deviations from the global community in terms of tackling the energy aspects. Like when it comes to coal, many countries have agreed that they'll stop using coal. But India, I see that as I was traveling in a train from Chennai to Bangalore, most of the Indian railways were carrying the coal from north to some of the states to southern states for their requirements. So initially, in the interim, there would be use of coal, and which is actually not an environmentally friendly product. But that issues are tackled in a way that eventually, once India sustains through these challenges, we would be able to bring about rapid reduction in emission of CO2. And that in fact the wireless technologies also will contribute, because when we talk about any new technology, there will be a something like two-dimensional electronics. So we talk about say the thin film hybrid microelectronics or thick films. So they are all technologies where the space is reduced. So space technology like satellites, it's all very miniaturization. So these technologies will have energy efficiencies. Therefore, in fact, for example, we have seen this Tesla has been able to bring in their space technology to the road, and marvel in the way the electrical vehicles were deployed. So that way, we will see that the improvements in the technologies definitely will position India in a way that, because we are not dissociated with the world, we will be able to increase our R&D, and there are some brilliant scientists out there in many scientific research labs. So we'll bring about reduction in emission of CO2, and eventually we will also stop using coal at a time when we would impact, when we will significantly improved our green hydrogen and other fuel cell implementations, about which Indian government has pledged a lot of support for research and development. Therefore, I think COP 28 will have a better position to argue, because we are criticized about coal aspects. and we have not accepted 2050 as the target, but 2070. But then every aspect in different corporations, including Indian Oil and others, they have improved their own conservation measures and efficiencies. So they increase the rapid pace at which they achieved the targets. Therefore, they will be able to achieve the objectives of COP28. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope
Yes.
so. Extremely visible to you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Kishore sir, for answering the question. I hope
Yeah.
participants are very happy
Yeah.
with your answer and explanations.
Sure.
So now, can you see the?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And my computer is also up and ready. So can we go to the next slide, sir? Next slide. Next. Yes, this one. Okay, previous one, sir. One before. Yes, this one, sir. Okay. So yes, so I was talking about. Yeah. So I was talking about how blockchain can be secure and can how it can help. So we spoke about distributed database, peer-to-peer communication, transparency, right? So everybody in the chain knows what you're talking about. So there is no chance of hiding. So there is no contract which is just visible to just two parties. So everybody in the chain is like a judge, is like a it's like a court also in itself. Everybody is judge. So if I try to be bad with you, everybody else will see saying that no, this is your fault, right? So you have a community which works together, and that's where everybody wants to work in a blockchain environment where, because there is a transparency. And one more feature of it is that irreversibility of records. So once you make a transaction, that transaction cannot be edited. Okay, so let's say let's say if we enter into a contract, right, and tomorrow I cannot just go and make some changes into the contract. You cannot edit it. If I have to make a changes, then I have to go through the whole new process of creating a contract between two players. So there is no chance of somebody misusing, trying to edit. You do not have somebody who can delete or edit your record. So there is a irreversibility of record, which makes blockchain so secure. And at the end, it is a computer system, isn't it? So it has its own computational logic. It has its own strength of solving bigger, tougher problems. So you are taking help of computer, you're taking help of internet, and you're taking help of other features which are built into the blockchain. So it is actually a simple internet based system which has these additional features. So can we go to the next slide, sir? So when we say additional features, what are those additional features? Okay. Next slide. Yes, sir. Yeah. So these additional features are like smart contracts, distributed open ledger, network consensus, secure transactions. So I said that smart contracts. So contract we all know, right? So we all know what contract is. So it is between two people. So when you say smart contract, it is a internet-based system. Okay, so for example, I'll just give you a simple example. Let's say you have this chocolate or cool drink or this dispensing machine, right? Where you put 50 rupees or 20 rupees or 10 rupees and you get the chocolate, right, from the machine. So it is like a contract, right? Contract says that this is for 10 rupees. You enter a 10 rupee note and you will get that thing in your place. So this is basically a rule, business rule. If this happens, then if this is the scenario, then this will happen. So in computer language we call it as if-else kind of logic. Okay, if this is the thing, then this should happen. If you enter a 10 rupees coin, you should get a 10 rupee coin or note. You should get a 10 rupee chocolate. So these rules are pre-built into the blockchain, and these are triggered, okay, when the condition is met. When note comes in, automatic, there's no other thing that you need to press. Okay, the moment you enter 10 rupee note, you get 10 rupee chocolate in your hand. So that's the business rule that we write into the system, and that rule is written and given to the system. Then we say distributed open ledger, right? Ledger is contract. It's the information that you write. All the transactions are written in a ledger. And so this is copy of this ledger is distributed to all the computers connected to that blockchain. So you have, okay, so the information is passed across the chain. So everybody has the contract, everybody has the details. So I just said, even if somebody tries to edit, it will not work, because you can edit only one record at a time, but there are 10 other records which are original. Okay, and everybody works as a consensus manner. Okay, so as I said, every player which is connected to blockchain, so they work as if they are a single team. So even though you're talking to one supplier, the other suppliers will get interested because they know that this work will kind of impact their work, right? So if I ask for extra tire, okay, so the manufacturer of the rubber, they know that there will be increase in demand for them. So now what happens is, you tell tier 1, tier we will tell tier 2, tier 2 will tell tier 3. This whole process might take week, 10 days, 15 days, or maybe a month. But here immediately the rubber manufacturer knows what is happening, right? So there is a consensus, and there is a visibility into system for everyone. Now, if you talk about smart contracts again, which is again one of the key aspect of blockchain, it is it's a computer program which is written to facilitate certain aspect. So your negotiation, your performance, everything is clearly defined. Okay, so everything is clearly defined and input into the system. Can we go to the next slide, sir? So on the next slide, I talk about one more example. Okay, I'm not going to get into details. You can actually refer to them later. Here I'm talking about a drug traceability. Okay, so let's say a guy sitting in a pharmacy store can know, or as a user, okay, forget about pharmacy store. As a user, you can scan your tablet and you will know what is the source of this tablet. Is it a genuine tablet or not? Okay, because everybody in the chain, they have to enter into the system. So first, manufacturer will have to enter their batch detail, all the details that generally they have, they will enter into the system. Then it will go to the wholesaler. Wholesaler will verify and will then enter their details. So then pharmacist, okay, the guy who sells in the store, will enter their details. So as a user, when you and I, when we go, we can scan the product and we can get all the information which is entered into the system. So yes, there's extra work for the players, right? For manufacturer or for wholesaler or for pharmacists, there's extra work. Okay, they have to enter the system. They have to maintain the blockchain network itself. But imagine the benefit. Okay, imagine the benefit that they all we have into the system. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about some of the applications of blockchain in India. Okay, and this is just some examples. You have ICICI Bank, which are in with international trade and finance remittance. Okay, and they're partnered with Emirates NBD. So it's an international players coming together, which will make your import export much easy. Okay, then SBI is also not far behind. Bank Chain is an initiative launched by SBI, which is again creating a consortium of all the Indian banks together. RBI has started working on blockchain technologies. Okay, so they are partnering with Infosys, TCS, IBM, okay, to create some kind of our Indian cryptocurrency. Okay, IBM and Mahindra Finance are developing their blockchain-based system. So examples are mostly finance heavy, but it's not just finance heavy. Can we go to the next slide, sir? We have a lot more examples. Okay, and see, India is leading. Okay, I was listening to Kishore, sir. India is leading. There's a lot of policies that are being changed. Okay, which supports setting up development centers in new technologies. Okay, and as a country, we are not very far behind. In fact, I would say that if you compare the last 10 years of development that we have in India, is probably much more than even a developed country like US. We have made far more, taken leads in these new technologies. So again, I think in the next slide, can we go, sir? I want to talk about one such example where India has taken lead, and this we can see in. Okay, so here, sorry. So this talks about different countries. So India is not the only one. Every country talks about blockchain these days. Malta has developed their own system for managing student record. Indian universities are tying up to maintain university record. Okay, what happens? Like you have seen the cases recently where 700, I think, Indian student who went to Canada to work were returned back, and they figured out their education was fake, right? So they had some problem with the universities. So problems like that will never occur because every university in India will be on blockchain, will put the information about Indian students there. So if somebody wants to know, let's say, I cannot show a fake certificate now because anybody who wants to know about my educational background can go to the blockchain and verify. Okay, you have DigiLocker where we are storing our Aadhaar card and driving license and things like that. That's again a blockchain kind of network where anybody can go and check my details, right? When you say anybody, they'll, of course, there will be a legitimate body. Okay, DZ Yatra, things like this are possible only because of this blockchain. Okay, today if you have a DZ Yatra and some of this airport, it will not even take you 5 minutes to cross the check-in and the security. Within 5 minutes you'll be at the boarding gate because everything, your identity, your boarding pass is all verified beforehand. Okay, so mostly if you see the development is around finance, but countries as a government is taking a lot of initiatives to enter into a lot of other aspects. So one particular example, can you go to the next slide, sir? One particular aspect which I want to talk about, which is happening in India, is about the land registration. And I'm sure you would have seen a lot of cases almost everyday basis where brothers fight for land, where two people fight for land, and they go to an extent of murders and things like that because they want to establish their own legitimate control over the land. Now, with blockchain in place, and states like Telangana and Andhra Pradesh has actually initiated where they are trying to register the land on blockchain. So it will be very difficult for these land grabbers, people who just goes and grab somebody's land. It will be difficult for them to grab anybody's land. So farmers will be much more safer. Okay, their land will be much more safer, and you will not have someone just going and grabbing the land. And this slide talks about the workflow. And again, I'm not going to get into details because I'm sure when you look at it, you will go. My idea was just to give you an exposure. This is what is happening, and companies are, as a government, they are taking initiatives and doing all this great work. Can you go to the next slide, sir? Okay, so this slide, okay, I want to spend some time on it. Okay, this talks about how to create a roadmap for implementation. So let's say if you as a body company wants to initiate or want to look at implementing blockchain, so where should you begin with? Okay, so I think the first place is that use case. You should know where the blockchain is used. Okay, where can blockchain be used? Blockchain, as I said, cannot be used for anything and everything. Okay, they have a limitation. Okay, they have a specific use. So learn where blockchain would make sense to a company. Okay, create those use cases. Okay, what are the different output that you are expecting from the blockchain? What do you expect the blockchain to give you? Okay, and how well you will be leveraging those, right? Okay, it's not about building and then thinking how to use it. Okay, you first decide, okay, this is how I'm going to use my blockchain. This is how I'm going to evaluate and assess the output from the blockchain. And then you kind of prioritize your use cases, saying, okay, these are the 10 things. These are the 5 things. Maybe initially you don't have to look at 20, 30 things. Okay, look at 5 things or 10 objectives that would be fulfilled by using blockchain. So create your use cases first. Then get into what you call evaluation of framework. Will this be useful to you? Is it feasible in first place? If it is feasible, can you make use of it? So we call it in our IT language, we call it as proof of concept, POC, right? Where you will create a small workable model to see, okay, if this is the input, what is the output? So you look at the feasibility, you look at the viability, possible or not at all, okay, and desirability. Okay, does that make sense for your business? Does it align with your objective or your company's vision? So if all these says yes, visibility yes, feasibility, viability, and desirability is yes, then you go to the next level. We say respective, retrospective to confirm value and identify new challenge. Okay, so now if you are taking it to the next bigger level, if you not take it to the bigger level, what would be the challenges? Of course, right? Because you have to talk to different partners, you have to get partners on board, isn't it? So look at the challenges, then test your POC iteratively. Okay, it's not just once, right? What happens if this happens, if that happens? So you have to look at multiple different conditions, multiple different contracts. Can it be supported by your blockchain or not? Okay, then your blockchain technology expert can help you to select a specific stack. There are different stack, okay, based on which your blockchain applications will be made. Then select your blockchain stack, and then finally you work towards developing, okay, your functional model, your architectural model, your team that will work on it, where and who should work on it, how much budget should be allocated. These are the other aspects that you think. Okay, these things you will think after you know that yes, you can do it and it is possible for you, one, and it makes sense. Okay, it's not that it is possible, but does it save money to you? Does it make sense to your business or not? Okay, so once you are sure you have the right team, you have the right people, you have the right technology, then scale up. Okay, so now you're going from POC level to actual production, where it can be used and put it in use. Okay, and then we always follow this agile workflow. Okay, don't try to we say, right, boil the ocean. Don't try to develop everything, don't try to implement everything at once. Okay, phase wise: discover, design, build, review. Okay, this is the phase of developing blockchain application. You take one use case, that's called you discover, design, build, and review if it's working. Then take next use case, follow the same process. Third use case, follow the same process. Step by step, build it, and you will see it is working for you. Okay, and finally, okay, enjoy. Okay, bring multiple partners to it. Take it to a next level where your customers are happy. Everybody who is part of this chain is also happy. They are getting benefited. It's not only you as a company is getting benefited, right? Other players who are working with you should also get benefited. Okay, so think of multiple use cases, think of multiple uses of it, benefits for everyone. Can we go to the next slide, sir? So,
is this?
Yes. So I was talking about what the advantages of using blockchain, right? So reliable and available. Okay, data is always available. Even if your system goes down, there's a copy made at every other company, right? So if you have even, let's say, 10 partners, it's not possible that everybody will lose the data at the same time, right? Even if 5 of the company goes down, other 5 has a copy, and when you come online, you will have a copy. So it is available, reliable, because the same copies create multiple copies is there. So even, let's say, if somebody tries to edit or make changes, others will watch and they will stop them from doing it. Okay, it's real time. Data is available real time. I just said, right, if you talk to your supplier, their suppliers already know what you're talking, so they are getting ready. They know that there will be an extra demand, so they are getting ready for helping their suppliers. So the information is transferred from one channel, one point to another point in real time. It is immutable, you can't edit it. Okay, it saves cost. Real time, your paper cost, your communication cost, okay, the delay cost, right? The lot of projects that gets delays, it's a cost. It's ultimately, it's all related to money, right? So it saves cost. Okay, it saves environment, it is transparent, everybody feels supported. Okay, and it is irrevocable. Okay, that means it is possible to make records which can increase your efficiency in the backend. Okay, so if efficiency backend increases, obviously you are helping the process, and that will impact the society. Society will get benefit. You can pass down the cost benefit to customers, so cost will come down. So it has, of course, a lot of benefits as well. So with that, I would want to conclude my presentation. I hope I was able to give you some insight into blockchain. I was able to make you think about blockchain, and just try to explore how much you can use them for your work. That's it from me, sir. I can't hear you, sir. I think you're on mute.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, I can hear you now. Thank you so much, sir, to you.
Thank you,
to
sir.
everyone.
Thank you, sir, for this well explained about blockchain, how and when. We have received some questions,
Yes,
but due
sir.
to time constraints, I will take only one question with you. Sorry for many questions. We'll connect some participants later on. But now, for now, one basic question has been asked by participants. That question is: global supply chain and blockchain. Is there any relation, similarities, differences? How we can understand a layman understanding? Global
Right.
supply chain and blockchain.
Yes. To answer this question in one word, okay, so global supply chain will be much more efficient by using blockchain. And supply chain is one of, I would say, the fast adopting blockchain concept in that case. So it is the same chain, okay, but it makes your chain even more secure, reliable, okay, all those features that we spoke about. So supply chain, if it is implemented in blockchain, you will trust the data more often. So now when you pick up a product, it says made in Japan. But do you really know it is made in Japan? It could be made in some gully in your city, right? And then put a stamp on made in Japan, right? But same thing in blockchain, no, it is not possible to do that. So yes, so there is a lot of similarity. Okay, so it's like supply chain is going to adopt blockchain, and many supply chains are already. That is, my supply chain is my area of work, so I know a lot of things has happened in supply chain to blockchain. Sir. So there is definitely companies are going to adopt blockchain. Supply chain companies are adopting blockchain.
Great, sir. Great, sir. Thank you for this nice explanation about your topic, research, and understanding, especially utilizing blockchain.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
so much for the opportunity.
Especially I would like to say to that the topic you have explained about blockchain, key tenets of blockchain, smart contracts, blockchain for drug traceability, blockchain adoption in building in India, land registration, especially in AP and Telangana, roadmap for implementation, blockchain fitness assessment framework, reliable and available, immutable, irrevocable, and real-time saves cost and some benefits. These benefits along with that transparency and all. So well explained about blockchain and technology can be implemented by PSUs and all. So now I would like to invite Dr. Binay Kumar, the convener of IIHR, for this for the thank you giving the session for the speaker and the party.
Yeah, thank you so much for all participants and the keynote speaker for their valuable time to attend this technology development conclave. So I think that the technology development conclave as a subject is there emerging trend of the advanced technology for the growth of the PSU. because the PSU is lagging behind in the term of technology, and they are not too much using technology. So we have selected this topic for the conclave. I hope that all participants will be benefited from the speakers. And I especially to the thanks again to the all speaker. First, the AT Kishore sir. Second, the Dr. Pramanta sir, and Dr. Swapnil Saurabh sir, the knowledgeable session and lecture to the participants. I hope that they will be benefited, sure. And your lectures and knowledgeable session will be also benefited for the PSU also.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you, especially keynote speakers from Japan, Professor Dinda Pramanta, Dr. Swapnil Saurabh sir, and A.T. Kishore sir. Thank you for your valuable time. And now the most important that participants, they have participated this session with the important time very nicely. They have participated here since long. And once again, say thank you to all and one. Now you can leave the session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.